So, this is me going out there and admitting that I was drinking the Haterade. Unfortunately, it works a lot better with Gatorade than BioSteel. You can't really say that I was drinking the Hater Steel. Doesn't really make sense. Haterade sounds cool. And I'll admit that I was sort of on that train that was doubting and not really being mindful of the potentials here, because today what I wanted to do was talk about a Detroit Red Wings prospect taken in the 2023 draft who has shown off so incredibly well in the preseason for the Wings that I have to go out there and say, yeah, I feel like I was kind of wrong, and it's only been when the hell was the draft? July, August, September, October. It's been 3 months? Or was the draft in June? Right, late June. Let's just say 3.5 months since this guy was drafted, and since I made my judgments and said on record, on the streams, on all the videos, that this wasn't necessarily the guy that I thought the Wings should have taken in the 9th overall spot. Today, we are talking about Nate Danielson, and we had made a few videos just going over the pick itself, but most of them had the same conclusion out of me. That Danielson was a guy who, in the WHL, was a good player, point-per-game guy, 78 points, 68 games played, solid frame center, 6'2", 187, right-handed player as well, but this was a player who was one of the oldest in the entire 2023 draft. And if you compared him to other guys who were born in August of 2005, so almost an entire year later, Danielson didn't really have the resume that I felt projected him as a top guy. Plus, he had all the draft rankings here: elite prospects 26th overall, future considerations 27th, Button 19th, McKean's 13th. They were pushing it a little bit, but the Wings and Yzerman took him at 9. And a lot of us went, okay, why? Some of us surely went, okay, trust the Yzer plan. Two-way center. He's a good guy, WHL kid. I mean, if there's anybody that knows what a WHL center, two-way guy is able to project to being, then maybe Steve Yzerman is probably right up there. So, let's just wait and see, right? Well, the guy has played for the Wings in the preseason, and long story short, he has looked spectacular. In fact, you had yourselves an article published by Helene St. James in the Detroit Free Press earlier last weekend, talking about why top prospect Nate Danielson has kept earning exhibition looks from the Red Wings. Take a look at this article. It'll be linked in the description if you want to go ahead and read this yourself. But the article goes over a few quotes from Danielson himself regarding the progression he has gone through and what Derek Lalonde has to say about how Danielson keeps on earning minutes. He's earned them, he said Thursday morning. We were going to play him in the first game and kind of go from there. Now he finds himself in Game 7 this late in the exhibition play. Every minute he gets, I think, is very valuable. It's a really good test for him. The article says here that Danielson, 19, had a goal and 2 assists in his first 4 exhibition games, and he added a second goal Thursday night in Toronto. He also held his own thanks to playing a smart game. It's kind of how I've always been, poised with the puck, Danielson said. It's different here with how quickly things happen. I still wanted to keep that in my game. It's something that makes me successful, so I'll just try to play confidently. The article then goes over Danielson's WHL play, and this is sort of where I wanted to interject and talk about some of the things that made Danielson more appealing as a 20-plus overall prospect rather than a 9th overall guy. You see, even though Danielson had these skills, he had the two-way capability, he was producing points in the WHL, the common consensus amongst the scouting community was that his projection and ceiling wasn't really at that peak that other two-way centers in the NHL have been. When you think number 1 two-way center, you think of the Bergerons, you think of the Datsyuks, you think of the Kopitars. You think of a bunch of guys who have cemented themselves as number 1 centers. But for Nate Danielson, common consensus was that he didn't really have that kind of a ceiling. In fact, most outlets projected him as being maybe a middle 6 third-line center, a really good third-line center, or an all-right middle 6 kind of guy, top 6 center, not necessarily a first top number 1 guy. Now, for the Red Wings, you could say that's not really an issue. I mean, you've got Dylan Larkin, he's a number 1, he's pretty alright. Marco Kasper is looking to be a very capable center who could become a top 6 guy bona fide in the future. So if you're trying to fill everything out as Larkin, Kasper, and Danielson, then that doesn't sound like that bad of an idea, but at the same time, the opposing argument is, why are you using a 9th overall guy on a player who's supposed to be a third-line player long-term? Like, it just doesn't really make sense from an evaluation standpoint. Why go for a player that you're drafting for your bottom 6 technically at 9th overall? Why not go for the big swing? Why not go for the high upside Zach Benson? Why not go for any of the other players whom scouts projected as having higher ceilings than Danielson? Which is why it's coming as a pretty nice surprise to see Danielson in the NHL preseason actually performing as well as he has. Now, at the time of recording this audio, I'll be transparent here, he hasn't gotten sent down just yet. I'm not going to say he's guaranteed to getting sent down because he's super young, or if he's guaranteed to making the team, who really knows? He makes the team, he plays his games, whatever, we'll see if he gets the 9-game sample. Who knows what's going to happen at this point? But no matter what happens, the fact that Danielson was in the NHL preseason, he was good, and he got this boost of confidence in the way he plays from the fans, from the coaching staff. The fact that he's even still here is a good thing at the time of recording this audio and when the article was published on Detroit Free Press. Let's go back over and read some more comments from Derek Lalonde on Danielson. He'll be in our top 6, complimenting him with some NHLers, Lalonde said, and that's at center. He's mostly been at center throughout camp, but we've given him some wing looks, just to play in some of the games with NHL players. He's got a 200-foot game, he's smart, he is good in all areas. There's probably a little more offense and a little more poise in his game than I had anticipated. Danielson doesn't rush plays, and despite being physically outmatched as he has played against men, he's done a good job holding onto the puck and protecting it. That stuff usually takes time, Lalonde said. It usually takes some development, some video, but he's got a good knack for it. And this is a really solid thing to hear because even though there was this idea back during the draft that Danielson could become this two-way center, if he maxes out as a top 9 guy, I think you're happy. There was always this acknowledgement that he did have a good two-way instinct, but seeing that get fully put on display against NHLers and actually have it work, that's good. Very, very good, and I think it's really adding on as to why this story is so impressive, that a guy at 9th overall who wasn't supposed to be 9th overall is looking so amazing right away. It is unlikely that Danielson will appear again Saturday. Okay, this video is actually scheduled to going up after Saturday, so, I mean, we'll see what happens, but the Wings plan to use the exhibition finale as close to a dry run for the season opener on October 12th. It will be as close to what we expect our NHL team will be for next Thursday, but we still may use Saturday as one last look at some guys that are on the bubble. So, for me, a few months ago, talking about how Danielson was not the guy I think the Red Wings should have taken, I guess y'all are saying in the comments, shame on you, Lego, look at you, you were wrong. And you know what? I'll still stand by my assessment at that time, because if you tried to say that Danielson would have been this good right away, I think most people would not have believed you. But I will also stand by my other sentiment throughout that process, saying that because the Red Wings drafted Axel Sandin-Pellikka just a few picks later with the Islanders pick, if you, in theory, swapped them around, and you said, okay, let's just imagine the Red Wings got Sandin-Pellikka at 9, and Nate Danielson later at 17th. If you think about it that way, it all of a sudden becomes a lot more understandable and easy to stomach, because Sandin-Pellikka was a guy that people said could have gone in that top 10 range anyway. So the Wings reached on one guy at 9th, they drafted the sleeper pick at 17. If you think about them as swapped, then it's totally appropriate. But the best part is the guy taken above has been great. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How has Nate Danielson impressed you this preseason? Are you surprised at how capable he is defending the rush and back-checking against NHL players? Does it shock you that he's got multiple points, multiple goals in these games? And what are your thoughts on how this projects into the future? I'm not saying he's guaranteed to make in the team, but just having this showcase and knowing that he's able to play at this level, when he gets sent back to the Brandon Wheat Kings, he is going to be on fire. And hopefully so, seeing as he's already 19 years old. He actually turned 19 at the end of September, so belated happy birthday to Nate Danielson. But thoughts in the comment section below about this prospect. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99, and bye.